Aim. Y'all, she's back on the microphone, man. And what's not to love about this situation besides us getting more and more Caitlin Clark? See, that's the beauty of it. You know, that Caitlin Clark will be picking up the microphone. Let's check out what the streets is saying. Somebody said, let's effing go. We all know the assignment. Spread the word, everyone. Viral time. Let's go. Let's effing go. Man, I watched the women's games in Europe. It was very sad. They're good players, but the structure isn't the same. So the women in the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark is stepping back in front of the camera tonight, and the hope is that things go a little smoother than her last experience on a national broadcast with Reggie Miller. Clark is returning to NBC, this time as a special contributor, which essentially makes this her third professional role, running simultaneously player, brand ambassador, and now broadcaster. The Indiana Fever posted the announcement and the WNBA itself retweeted it, which is worth noting on its own. The post confirmed that Clark would be joining NBC Sports as a special contributor for the Knicks vs. Thunder matchup, putting her back behind the microphone for a high-profile NBA game.
Very sad. They're good players, but the structure isn't the same. So the women in the WNBA should be grateful. You guys have it better. Don't mistreat CC. She's the jewel for shining a light on all of y'all. So this got to be coming from a fan that is located overseas. And I can't do nothing but just agree with them. You know, no disrespect to any overseas ball players or anybody that's overseas. But when it comes to Caitlin Clark, she's just on a whole nother level. Somebody said, when an individual player is great, when opposing coaches' defensive skills.
Reactions across social media have been overwhelmingly enthusiastic. Fans jumped on the news immediately, with posts calling for people to spread the word and treat the moment as a major event. One comment from what appears to be an overseas fan pointed out that women's basketball in Europe doesn't operate with the same infrastructure or support that the WNBA provides, and made the case that Clark represents a rare opportunity for the entire league to gain visibility. The sentiment was that she elevates everyone around her just by being in the conversation.
And coaches' defensive schemes are focused on stopping one player, and your coaches restrict your playing time, and you still set 5 new records and become the FIBA youngest player to win MVP. Wow, I didn't even know she actually was the youngest player to win MVP. That's something to talk about in itself. That Caitlin Clark is the youngest player to ever win MVP for FIBA World Basketball. Let's go. And maybe this time Reggie Miller will compare her to Jose Alvarado. Who knows? Lethal shooter.
Another widely shared reaction highlighted just how dominant Clark's recent stretch has been, noting that opposing coaches design entire defensive systems around stopping her, that her playing time has at times been limited by coaching decisions, and that she still managed to set 5 records and become the youngest player in history to win FIFA World Basketball's MVP award. That last detail is significant on its own. Clark is now the youngest player to ever claim that particular honor. The comparison to a shooter like Peyton Pritchard, which Reggie Miller made during their last shared broadcast, has resurfaced in the conversation.
Alvarado, who knows? Lethal shooter, playmaker, photographer, Putin, and landlady. She owns so much space in people's heads. Is there something she cannot do? Have to agree with that, man. Don't care about the game. Just want to see Caitlin Clark. Damn, she's even taking over the NBA. To me, I feel like the NBA definitely need the love. They need the ratings. Caitlin Clark, as of right now, what she did during FIBA World Basketball, to me, in
fans are hoping for a cleaner, more respectful broadcast moment this time around. That clip from the previous NBC appearance where Clark visibly reacted to being compared to a mid-level NBA role player has been circulating again as a reminder of what not to repeat. Beyond tonight's game, the broader context around Clark is building. The WNBA season is approaching, expansion moves are being finalized, free agency and the draft are both in motion, and the league is gearing up for what many expect to be a record-breaking viewership year.
In my opinion, has set her standard so high to where now it's going to be real hard for her to come down. I mean, Caitlin Clark is like an airplane in autopilot mode right now. Because when that season kick off, bro, I'm thinking record number viewership. I believe the Caitlin Clark hype is going to be bigger than it's ever been. Shout out to CCFC, the Caitlin Clark fan club, because guess what? Everybody got hit with some rejuvenation when Caitlin Clark run that one.
Clark's recent performance on the international stage, Combined with her growing presence across media and events, from the Uber Women's Summit to courtside appearances at Pacers games to bringing home MVP honors in Puerto Rico, has put her momentum at an all-time high. The general expectation heading into the 2026 WNBA season is that interest in Clark will surpass anything seen in previous years. Her crossover appeal, which was already pulling in audiences who had never watched women's basketball before, appears to be expanding further following her international run.
Caitlin Clark won that FIBA World Basketball. Let's check out some of these quotes. Somebody said $100 says she'll be in heels. You know she gonna be in heels, and I shall be there. Shout out to my guy CC Report. Caitlin Clark's going to be on NBC today. You know the vibes. CC back on TV today. Heck yeah, Caitlin Clark, special contributor on NBC for the Knicks versus Thunder, spelled Knox, but we know what you're trying to say. Big few weeks for our W Hawks.
The convergence of the new CBA, league expansion, and Clark's profile means April is shaping up as a genuine inflection point for the WNBA as a whole. Tonight's NBC appearance gives fans their first look at Clark in a broadcaster role this cycle, and the bar for how she carries herself on camera is already high given everything that has happened over the past several months. The WNBA may be heading toward legal trouble over how the Connecticut Sun sale and relocation was handled.
We know what you're trying to say. Big few weeks for our W Hawks. Caitlin back on her studio vibe tonight. Expansion drafts and free agency that could impact Meg, Kate, and Lucy. College season ramping down. W ramping up, yes. And what's crazy is that I've been telling y'all all month long that I feel like April is really going to be the month to kind of kick off the WNBA, and I'm excited about it, man. It's been a long time coming. This league here has been enduring a lot of stress.
Based on available reporting, the deal does not hold up to scrutiny. Prospective buyers from both Boston and Hartford apparently had the opportunity to purchase the Sun for $325 million, but only under the condition that the franchise remained in Uncasville. The Hartford group, by all accounts, was prepared to honor that condition.
Here has been enduring a lot of stress. You know what I'm saying? Not just the league itself, but giving a lot of stress to fans, man. Us wanting to know the real. Us wanting to know what exactly is going on with this damn situation with Caitlin Clark playing for the 2026 season. So for it all to be over, I can't be nothing but happy as a fan, man. It says, are you thinking about marriage? That's just left field. Let's go. Somebody said, why though? You's a hater, bro.
The state of Connecticut made clear it would do whatever was necessary to retain the team within its borders. The core priority from the Connecticut side was never about a specific city, it was simply about keeping the franchise in the state. The relocation fee argument falls apart under that context.
How do we keep this team in Connecticut? So I think everybody here talking about this being like, oh, like they didn't pay their relocation fee. And I'm like, well, why the fuck would they have had to pay any relocation fee? Just saying. Just saying, why would they have had to pay a relocation fee if they, didn't relocate the team? Because that was it. They just wanted a relocation fee. They fully just wanted.
If the Hartford group had no intention of moving the team out of Connecticut, there was no relocation occurring, so the fee itself was essentially a fabricated obstacle. The league appears to have used that fee as a mechanism to make the deal financially unworkable for New England buyers, not because there was a genuine policy violation. The Boston bid had its own complications. The primary Celtics ownership was reportedly not directly involved, and securing a priority schedule at TD Garden was apparently not possible.
Because that was it. They just wanted a relocation fee. They fully just wanted a relocation fee and did not care what they did to get it. They didn't care what happened. They didn't care one bit about any of these teams. They didn't care one bit about the players. They didn't care a bit about the state of Connecticut. They wanted the team to be in. The main issue from Boston, the majority owner was not involved. The Celtics owner was not involved. Couldn't get priority scheduling TD Garden. They just made up shit. It seems like they've just made up shit. It says here, the infrastructure.
These obstacles conveniently piled up. Hartford, meanwhile, has a serious basketball infrastructure argument. 30 years of UConn basketball have made it one of the most basketball-literate markets in the country. The underlying reality, as many observers have pointed out, is that the league had already committed to Houston getting a team.
Seems like they've just made up shit. It says here, the infrastructure only works if it's tri-owned. Hartford is the epicenter of was basketball 30 years of UConn. It's literally it. Why would they want a team in Uncasville instead of Boston or Hartford? The fix was in. They wanted to sell the Sun to Houston. So they made it economically impossible for New England groups to buy the team. Yeah, as far as I just want to see here, looking through, I think somebody said it here. They weren't allowed to relocate within the region, but they were allowed to move the other way in the country. Yeah, they refused to allow them to relocate 20 miles down the road.
That promise appears to have driven every decision that followed. The rules were applied selectively. The Sun could not move 50 or 100 miles down the road to Hartford, yet a 2,000-mile move to Texas was approved without issue. That contradiction is difficult to explain through any neutral reading of league policy.
They refused to allow them to relocate 20 miles down the road. And Hartford is not a relocation. Hartford is not a relocation. And I think I saw it somewhere. I'm not going to say this is fact, but I'm like 99% sure I saw it somewhere that they didn't let them do it anyway. Like, it didn't really matter. They wouldn't have let them do it anyway. Even if they said we're going to keep the team in Uncasville, which they were never going to do, they would not have allowed them to relocate.
What makes the financial angle even more damning is that the league itself receives none of the money from the sale, since the Connecticut Sun is tribally owned. That means the WNBA would have turned down a hypothetically higher offer from New England buyers purely to deliver the franchise to Houston. The fix, as many are arguing, was already in.
Have allowed them to relocate the team. It was straight up we are sending this team to Houston because we promised Houston during the round of expansion that they'll get it next. Because Hartford is right there for more money in Houston. If you wanted to pull, you have to say. And by the way, it says here they would have allowed them to get it, to keep the team in Hartford there for $325 million. So basically, they said, okay, yeah, we would have actually let you pay $25 million more if you wanted to keep the team there. But, to move the team to the other end of the country and
a lawsuit from the state of Connecticut is a genuine possibility. One likely resolution, if litigation moves forward, could resemble the arrangement David Beckham secured for Inter Miami in MLS, a franchise option locked in at a present-day price, guaranteed for a future expansion round. Hartford being granted a team in the next expansion cycle, potentially around 2031, with a price set at today's valuation, would be a logical settlement outcome.
$5 million more if you wanted to keep the team there. But, to move the team to the other end of the country and get rid of all these fans, we are willing to waive that. And actually, we'll give you a $25 million discount. Because we're going to make sure as hell the only way this team goes to anywhere other than Houston is we're going to make sure there's no way it happens. Is if they refuse to move it, which they can't do if they're not the Mohegan Sun tribe because they don't own all the facilities.
Connecticut is unlikely to simply absorb this outcome without a legal response. The cultural damage extends beyond the legal dispute. The Connecticut Sun's entire competitive history, the finals runs, the players who defined the franchise, figures like Alyssa Thomas is at risk of being effectively erased.
Not the Mohegan Sun tribe because they don't own all the facilities in Uncasville. It is as simple as that. It is as simple as that. They wanted Fertitta, who, by the way, there is a very good chance that Tillman Fertitta just, I'm telling you this right now, a WNBA team tied to an NBA team is going to go bust very soon. They're going to be liquidated. It's going to happen very soon.
The new Houston ownership is expected to reclaim the Comets' identity and history, which would leave the Suns' legacy sitting in a defunct franchise column despite the fact that the organization was purchased and moved, not dissolved. The NBA has precedent for this kind of historical...
It's going to happen very soon. Will it be the Houston Rockets or Comets? Maybe. But there will be a team linked to an NBA team that the owner just says, you know what, fuck it. Why did I get involved in this? I don't even like the WNBA. I can't sell this team, so let's just liquidate the team. And that is going to happen soon. Because there are literally places like, again, Hartford. Hartford would be the best place. Hartford would be the best place. So let me get the...
A WNBA franchise attached to an NBA ownership group that has no deep investment in women's basketball carries real risk. At some point, if franchise values plateau or growth stalls, liquidation becomes a more attractive option than a sale. That scenario, an owner simply walking away from a team, is not far-fetched, and Houston's situation may be among the first cases where it becomes relevant.